Sometimes, a single sentence, even one delivered in silence, can change a person's entire world. And on one rainy Thursday evening, in a small family-owned restaurant just outside Portland, a young deaf woman learned exactly that. She walked in with hope, only to walk out with heartbreak. Until a stranger at the next table lifted his hands, and signed the words she didn't even know she needed to hear. But let's start at the beginning, because kindness didn't just save her night, it saved her belief in people. Before we jump in, if you enjoy emotional, inspiring storytelling like this, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to your channel name. Your support helps us keep sharing stories that touch the heart. Emily Carter was 27, soft-spoken, and gentle in every movement, not because she wanted to be, but because life had taught her to walk carefully through the world. She had been deaf since childhood. Over the years she mastered reading lips and sign language, but dating had always been complicated. People treated her like she was too much work, or they pretended to be understanding until they realized they weren't. Still, Emily believed in love. She believed in second chances, even when life didn't always give her the same grace. That evening, she arrived at the restaurant early. She kept smoothing down the skirt of her simple blue dress, checking her hair in the reflection of her phone screen. Her blind date, someone her coworker insisted was a great guy, was supposed to meet her at 6. She sat at a small table near the window, nervously twisting the silver ring on her finger as she rehearsed in her head how she would explain she preferred signing but could read lips if needed. She had typed the message many times on her phone, thinking it would make things easier. By 6:10, her date arrived. Tall. Sharp jawline. Expensive watch. Looked like someone who always got his way. His name was Jason. He sat down without much of a greeting, immediately picking up the menu. Emily smiled gently and signed hello, nice to meet you, then quickly grabbed her phone to type, I'm deaf, but I can read lips. She slid the phone across the table. Jason read it, sighed loudly, and shook his head. Seriously, he said, his lips forming the words clearly enough for her to understand. You didn't think to mention that before I drove all the way here? Emily's heart tensed. She tried to sign slowly, hoping he could follow the gestures, but he lifted his hands dismissively. No. No, I'm not doing this. He pushed back his chair. I'm not spending the whole night doing charades. The words hit her like stones. Jason stood up, grabbed his coat, and walked away, just like that. Emily felt her cheeks burn. Her throat tightened. The restaurant suddenly felt too bright, too loud even though she couldn't hear the noise. She lowered her head, blinking hard to keep the tears from falling. People were staring. Or maybe she only imagined they were. That was somehow worse. She reached for her purse, ready to leave before the humiliation swallowed her whole. But then, someone gently tapped the edge of her table. She looked up. A man she hadn't noticed before was sitting at the next table with a little girl around 6 years old. The man looked to be in his mid-30s, warm brown eyes, soft beard, sleeves rolled slightly at the wrist like he had been rushing all day. His daughter was coloring quietly, legs swinging under the booth. He lifted his hands, hesitated for a moment, then began signing slowly, carefully. Are you okay? Emily blinked. Her breath caught. He was signing. Not perfectly, but enough for her to understand. Without thinking, she signed back, I'm fine, thank you. The man smiled gently. Then he signed, you deserve better than someone like that. The words, the kindness in them, broke something inside her. The tears she had been holding in finally slipped free, but it wasn't humiliation anymore. It was relief. It was the feeling of being seen. She signed back, thank you. Really? The man signed his name, I'm Daniel. Then he pointed to the little girl. This is Lily. Lily waved brightly, not knowing sign but understanding the friendliness in her father's tone. Emily offered a small, grateful smile. She didn't want to intrude on their dinner, so she began gathering her purse. But Daniel gently shook his head and signed, please, sit with us. Only if you want to. You don't have to leave because of him. Everything about his expression was soft, open, human. Emily hesitated, then slowly nodded. She slid into their booth, and for the first time that night, her heartbeat slowed. Her hands stopped shaking. Daniel wasn't fully fluent. He signed in short, slightly clumsy movements, but his effort, his willingness, made every gesture shine. When he didn't know a sign, he simply wrote it on his phone or let Emily teach him. He listened, not with his ears, but with presence. Lily, curious and bright-eyed, began tapping Emily's arm and pointing to drawings she was making, little cats, stars, and smiley faces. Emily smiled, showing her how to sign cat, shaping her fingers into whiskers. Lily giggled and repeated it. Soon, the booth was filled with laughter, some silent, some spoken, all warm. Emily learned that Daniel was a single dad. His wife had passed away when Lily was 2. He worked long hours fixing HVAC systems, and most days he felt he was barely keeping up. But he adored his daughter, and he tried his best. Emily explained her own story, how she taught art classes for kids, how she felt safer painting than talking, how she wished the world understood deafness wasn't a limitation but another language. Daniel listened like every word mattered. At one point, he placed his hand over his chest and signed carefully, "I wish more people saw you the way I see you right now." Emily's face warmed. No one had ever said something like that to her, spoken or signed. They stayed long after their meals were finished, talking in gestures, pictures, and phone messages. When the little girl grew sleepy, resting her head against her father's shoulder, Daniel signed one final message. "Please don't let one unkind person make you doubt your worth. You're remarkable. Anyone can see that." Emily swallowed hard against the lump in her throat. This wasn't a date. It wasn't romance. It was something even more precious, human kindness freely given. When they stood up to leave, Daniel hesitated. Then he offered his phone and typed. "Would it be okay if Lily and I saw you again sometime? Maybe at the park. She likes you." Emily read it twice, her heart swelling. She typed back, "I'd love that." Lily reached up and gave Emily a small hug around the waist before they left. Emily watched them walk out into the cool night air, father holding daughter, daughter holding hope. And for the first time in a long time, she felt whole. Later, at home, Emily replayed the moment Daniel signed to her, "You deserve better." Those 3 silent words became a turning point, showing her that kindness doesn't need volume to be powerful. It only needs intention. In a world where people rush, judge, and dismiss what they don't understand, Daniel chose compassion. He chose to see her, not her deafness, not her challenges, but her heart. And sometimes, that's all any of us really need. A reminder that we matter. A reminder that we are worthy of love, respect, and softness. A reminder, delivered in silence, that can echo for a lifetime. So if you take anything from Emily's story, let it be this. Never underestimate the impact of a small act of kindness. You never know how deeply someone needs it. And who knows, your kindness might be the very thing that helps someone believe in themselves again.